Welcome back, listeners, to the Brighter Side of Blue, our worldwide podcast coming to you from Columbo's Cafe and Tavern in Dogtown, St. Louis. It's the home of the famous Cibo's thin crust pizza and daily lunch specials like Ricky Ray's having right now, the Philly cheesesteak.
Yep.
Welcome to Dogtown and the Brighter Side of Blue. I'm Danny.
I'm Tommy.
I'm JJ.
Producer John.
Producer John's back. Ricky Ray was sitting in his seat last week while John was out doing some kind of strange concert that nobody's ever heard of.
Wolfgang Summer.
Oh, yeah, Wolfgang.
Wolfgang Van Halen. You heard of the family name?
That is true. So one of the Van Halen guys.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good. Welcome back, though, Producer
Well,
John.
I commend you guys for doing a great show without me, despite the.
I stumped Ricky Ray. Ricky Ray thinks he always has the answers, Producer John. Last week, I stumped his ass.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, well, I got him. I got him on
Well, I personally want to
Birdman of
thank Ricky.
Alcatraz trivia.
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ricky, for sitting in. I really appreciate it.
Tommy, we have a crate. We're doing a little something different. So
Well, it all starts from the Raphael Jackson confession
Craze.
tape, and obviously he's a little out there, crazy, and it got us to thinking: who are the craziest killers of St. Louis? And we've done some shows on some of them, and we're going to do shows on other, and then we're going to talk about 6 guys tonight that are probably good for over 50, 60, 70 murders, depending on, some of them are confessed to. But it all starts with the Raphael Jackson thing. And then at the end of this, we have bonus Raphael Jackson confession, where one of the detectives...
audio only.
Audio only. One of the detectives that's familiar with us said, we interviewed him. And, actually, the story goes is that he's in his office, and he hears guys talking about this Raphael Jackson confession, and they're playing it. And you know how police stations are set up. There's cubicles, and there's 4 guys here, 4 guys there. And it's like, hey, I recognize that voice. That's that crazy motherfucker I interviewed back in the day that confessed all those murders, which is what he was listening to. And then they went down afterwards, and they interviewed him on home invasions and other things.
Street robberies, carjackings, and
all
then a
kinds
home
of
invasion.
stuff. He was good for it all.
And we
nuts.
picked out the best 10 minutes of that, about 10 minutes, and that'll be playing at the end of the shows. A little bonus Raphael Jackson confession.
And let me tell you something, it's worth listening to.
And there's a teaser. There's a Lou Ferrigno reference.
There is a Lou
Yes.
Ferrigno reference and a teddy bear.
So we're not going to give credit to the detective that listened to it?
It was Phil Menendez.
Okay.
I think, I
don't think he cares.
I didn't think he cares.
Okay.
Said his
Well,
name.
it's a story about some of the St. Louis craziest killers, why we deemed them the craziest, and how we caught them.
Right.
Well, it's pretty obvious why they're
So
the
it's-
And
it's
craziest.
truly a true
what's
crime,
wild, though, is that
stories.
of 2 of these guys are currently out of prison.
My
They're
guys,
actually in the audience having Cibo's pizzas right now.
that is crazy.
I don't know
Yes.
if they're that. That's why if we're talking about hiring Campbell Security Group to watch the doors here.
Yeah,
They got
and they
great-
do,
just in
they
case.
do a great
Just
They
job.
got
Okay.
a great logo, too.
Very
Yep.
nice.
I
Very
love
nice.
this. Is my favorite. Quite
Is your
a
new
bit.
favorite shirt?
I love this shirt.
But before we get
But then you
started
got the
on,
Schicker hat on. You're
I'm
like
really-
an
I'm
advertising
represent.
machine.
I'm
you're a
represent.
poster. You're a poster
Thank you.
child.
He's kind of just a big child.
Yeah, he's just
True
a big
that.
child.
True that.
Before we get on with the some of our crazy killers stories, we are a grassroots podcast that needs you to like, subscribe, and share.
It would be appreciated.
93.6 million worldwide listeners.
Something like that.
Close.
We have Ukraine on board, Vietnam. As we already know, Jimmy Long's over in Vietnam, but we keep growing. You hit like, subscribe, and share. We know that Tommy charts it, and it's helping us keep the word alive about all the things that law enforcement does on a daily basis. And that's what this podcast is about, true crime stories and true heroism from our
Hey, real
people
quick.
in the badge.
You know, the construction of our new studio is starting soon.
Yep, it is.
January 13th, the construction of the new studio in the
I'll
basement
probably
of
do
Columbus.
most of the work. I
I did slate that you would do a lot of the like
engineering.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it.
That
done.
should be good. Then we got JJ working on on the sound, so we should be good. And then we got
golden.
Yep, we should. Be
It's
good.
weird. He's working on the sound, but we have a producer John over there. What's producer John going to work on?
Producer John's working on the walls. He's a wall guy.
We have Mobile Reserve coming in to do the
Yeah.
Can't go
the tear
wrong,
down.
brother.
Yep.
Can't go wrong.
Yes. So so Tommy, how this got started was Tommy gave us all homework assignments to come up with a crazy killer from St. Louis and a true crime story about it, and he gave us all assignments.
I didn't do
JJ has one, I have one. Mine's going to be, I'm just going to tease you all because mine, I think, is such a unique story that we're going to do a show on it.
Right, and then I've got two. I've got one that I'll tell the story, and I got one that I'm going to set up that we're going to do a story on. That's crazy.
Or two.
What's
or
that?
two. Or two stories on it. Richard Beck.
Richard Beck might take
Come
a
on.
minute.
The bomber. Yeah. So how do you want to start it, Tommy? Who do you want to go first?
I think we'll go with JJ because JJ's going to talk a little bit about Maury Travis.
Yep.
And Maury Travis, we've featured on a previous show with Harry Hager early on. I think it was show number 3. It was the show after JJ quit the first time. And
How many times has he quit now?
I think we're double
Not
digits.
enough.
Keep
Double
talking. I'm
digits.
quitting again. I'm not doing my Zen yet.
No. All right. So go ahead with the more.
No,
what
no.
do you have?
I want to say one thing real quick before I start. And this is kind of serious. It's the Christmas season, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of, you have no idea what I'm going to say, but I lost a good friend this week. And I'm not going to get into it. And it's one of those buddies of mine. He was always generous to me. He was a successful businessman. And he passed away. And it was one of those guys where I always wanted to call and say, hey, man, I'd run into him. I'm going to get together with you. I'm going to have a beer with you. And I never did. And now I regret it. So this is a Christmas season. If you have friends out there that you haven't talked to in a while, reach out to them and just text them and just say, I regret not reaching out to him now. And his name is Joe. And he's, I feel sorry. His family is suffering right now. So I just want to have a little toast to Joe and his family.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know I'm hesitant to even tell this story, but I have to. And then we got a pretty morbid show with bad murderers and stuff. But anyway.
No, that's a good way to. I like that.
Cool. I wasn't sure. I was going to say, you can cut that out if you want.
No,
no,
absolutely
you're in.
not.
You're in.
That comes from the heart, baby.
Yeah.
Anything that comes from the heart, we keep in.
Yeah. And so see your friends you haven't talked to in a while, reach out to them, brother.
Absolutely.
But Maury Travis, we talked about, like he said before, this guy he grew up in Ferguson. He was a waiter. Everyone thought he was just a quiet, nice guy. And he went after prostitutes and drug addict females, and he ended up torturing them. He had a basement in Ferguson that he would bring these women in and torture them. And and we know the story, so I don't know how much you want me to get into it or we want to discuss
well,
it.
I mean, they
I
can
know
go back
Danny-
and listen to Harry Hager, but I think there's a lot of things to talk about here. And one of them being that in my career and in researching what we've researched for this show is that he's the only one that was deemed a serial killer before he was caught.
Right.
A lot of the ones like the T.T. Jordan and Raphael Jackson and a lot of these guys, they didn't find out that they were crazy. And even the dentist I'm going to talk about later, they didn't find out that they were crazy killers until they got locked up.
And it really was
Maury Travis was, they knew that they were looking for a serial killer before they got him.
right.
Harry Hager was all over that
Yes.
early.
Well, a Post-Dispatch writer wrote a story about we have a serial killer. And that was really his demise. When that story came out, they always have these egos. And so he actually responded to it, showed a map of where the next body was, and said that it was a victim. And he was getting cocky because he thought he was smarter than everybody else.
Yeah.
And it was actually because he used a computer in a public library in Ferguson, and that's how he ended up getting caught.
Right.
So the guy, and the weirdest thing, and you've talked, I know you talked about it because where were you at the time?
Are you asking about the video?
Yeah.
I was going to say something, but go ahead. Say.
But anyway, though he built a torture chamber in his basement, and in the videos, and later on we'll hear from Chief Mokwa, who said that all the detectives had to get counseling from it. It was just I cannot imagine watching, if the very first one, and you can correct me, one of the first videos they saw, he had a woman in the video, and he killed her on the video and said number 1 or something like that. I mean, this guy was a psycho, and he was a waiter at a nice restaurant. Everybody thought he was just a nice guy. And he's good for at least 15 to 20 drug addicts or prostitutes. He always the prostitutes he was going after because he knew that they didn't make headline news. They would just prostitutes disappear and no one knows
Well,
they're
nobody
gone.
cared. I think his reasoning was that
Nobody
nobody
been
cared
looking
about
for
low
him.
profile.
They didn't have family.
Right.
Nobody cared about him.
100%.
So I had the unfortunate opportunity to see the entire video when I was a
can't believe you-
commander, and so.
See, I couldn't watch.
So, but there's some great police work, and I don't remember Harry Hager mentioned this aspect of it. It was the videos were on a old school VHS tape. Okay, and so some detective in the homicide division was charged. They found a bunch of cassette VHS tapes, and they said you got to watch this if there's any clues in there. So this detective cracked the entire, solidified the whole case. Was there was like a 6-hour VHS tape, and the first 2 hours of it were literally like a family wedding in like Arkansas or whatever, and it was just 2 hours of that. And then all of a sudden, the wedding stopped, and it went right to the torture chamber in Maury Travis's basement. And he filmed and documented each and every torture and actual murder. And then it stopped and went right back to the
wedding?
To the wedding.
Didn't you say it was like 2 hours in or something like that?
It was 2 hours in, two and a half
Actually-
hours in. So if that detective, because it was definitely just a wedding tape.
I want to mention one of the detectives. She's still on. She was part of that group. Is Jocelyn Mercier.
I wonder if she's the one. I don't know.
She saw the video. She watched the video, and she was one that was watched. One of the multiple, I guess, detectives that watched.
Tim Sack was involved.
Yeah,
But
Oh,
I don't
yeah,
know if they
Hager.
watch these detectives like Jocelyn Mercier. They actually were assigned to you watch these videos, and she had to watch every video. She told me,
Yeah.
which is insane.
No,
I
I
don't know.
watched the entire video, and it scarred me. And like Chief Mokwa said, I should have. That's probably what's wrong with me. I should have went to counseling.
I know
because-
we're bringing up Chief Mokwa's name a lot right now, just for the viewers. Is that we were all
Homework assignments.
we were all given assignments, and John Frank decided that he would not partake in assignments, and he just called Chief Mokwa and said, "Who are the craziest killers that you know?" And we had a great conversation with Chief Mokwa, and that'll be coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah,
and then we'll go into the Raphael Jackson interview. So a lot of crazy killers will be mentioned on this show, and we're not even.
So when they should go back and listen to the Maury Travis with Major Harry Hager.
Yep.
I mean, I remember Major Hager was
It's audio
furious.
only,
It's
but-
audio only. It was our early.
That was our third episode.
Like I said,
Audio
we're
only.
grassroots. We started with a seed, and now we have all this video that a lot of times doesn't work. But just kidding.
No,
I'm
it's
just
not.
kidding.
I'm
Sort of
kidding.
not kidding.
I'm just
though.
kidding. But
I know.
Maury Travis actually killed himself in custody.
He did.
And Major Hager was furious about that because he was a legitimate serial killer, and he wanted the opportunity for us to profile him and learn things from him and study him and this and that, and all that opportunity was lost.
And a lot of the
because he killed
families that
himself.
were missing
Closure.
They didn't get the closure they
Yeah,
wanted. So yeah.
So Maury Travis. So wow. Yeah. So anyway, you can go back and listen to that on with Major.
Yep. And the
Hager.
other ones that, and we're just going to give these guys a couple mentions here because you can go back and listen to, like the Anthony T.T. Jordan. We covered his trial, with Katie Cole, and we've had several shows on him. He's good for at least 20. Some of the detectives that were involved say 50. Depending on who you believe and what you believe. So he's got to be mentioned in the craziest killers in St. Louis. And like I said, numerous shows on him back. Go look at him, and it's very, very vividly put on the titles. The trial of Anthony T.T. Jordan.
Yeah.
The thing
Yeah.
about him is he's not considered a serial killer because he didn't pick certain victims. He was just killing foes and people
Yeah.
against
He's
him.
just a murderer.
Right.
You know,
He-
like,
to benefit his business.
And just like
Yeah.
with when we talked with Chief Mokwa is when he was talking about the Petties. I don't know that they're serial killers.
No.
But don't cross them.
Right.
Right.
And I think that T.T. Jordan was the same way, and Raphael Jackson was the same way.
Right.
Hey, I don't know if they're serial killers, but they're definitely not people to be trifled with.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't, whatever the rules are, whatever they think the rules are, they make up the rules. And if you violate their rules,
Don't
they're killing
disrespect
you.
them.
Right.
100%.
Don't trifle with them.
Yeah, he always like that.
Do you never trifle? So I gave Danny the assignment of Jerry Lee Little
Junior.
Jr. And and Danny calls me back within an hour. Him and his wife decided they were going to go in and they were going to dive into Jerry Lee Little. And he calls me back and says, "There's no way that I can just mention him as just a mention." And why was that, Danny? What did you find out?
Well, so Jerry Lee Little was he was a serial killer because he killed women, raped them, and strangled them. So he did the same thing every time, and he stalked them, and he did the same thing over and over. The murders were all between 1985 and 1988. But this guy, he was caught. If you ever did anything wrong in this city, the exact team of detectives that Chief Hackett, and now we know Mokwa was his aide back then, he compiled a team of detectives. I have to read them to you. You don't want these guys looking for you. But Captain Charles McCrary, but the team was led by Lieutenant George Holliker, a good family friend of producer John, Joe Walsh, Frank Banasek, Rich Brogan, Terry James, Chris Pappas, Joe Wright, Willie McCullough, and Thomas Weiber. You're done.
What year is that? What years?
85 to 88.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean, those guys are
Killer's Row
legends.
right there, man.
Yeah, it's
And
killer.
then for those of that don't know those
Legends
names,
in St. Louis for sure.
Yeah,
those are legends within the police department, and they're legends because they're great investigators.
100%.
And if you have those 10 guys coming after you, you got problems.
So, and I'm going to end the tease for this because you're going to watch the show. But Jerry Lee Little was a piece of shit from early on in life, and he was a juvenile in 1971, and he was convicted of rape and sentenced to 5 years in juvenile jail.
So like as a 15-year-old.
Yeah, and he gets out of juvenile jail in 1974. He gets out early. I don't know, whatever. And within 2 weeks of being out, he is a participant in a robbery and gang rape. And he gets sentenced to 20 years. So robbery and gang rape back in the day, get you 20 years. He gets out early on that and moves to Kansas City, marries a gal that he met as an inmate. I don't know how that dynamic worked. I'd have to peel the onion on that one.
Love.
You know,
And I will.
one little thing.
True love.
Is that
happens a
I
lot.
talked to Joe Burgoon last night about Jerry Lee Little,
Yeah.
and he said his thing was he was a smooth talker. He could talk anybody to anything, and that's how he manipulated these victims.
Yeah. Okay. Well, he moved to Kansas City, marries this gal. He gets caught with some weed and they violate his parole. He gets sent back in, comes back out, and then goes on this murder spree. And so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to have a whole show. And we're trying to get one or more of those Hall of Fame detectives to come on. Hopefully the one that got the actual confession. But we're working on that. That's my guy.
Yep. And then, so then the one that I got into, and I thought it was, and living in St. Louis my whole life, I never heard of this Glennon Engleman. And have you guys ever heard of it?
no.
I mean, there's been books written about this guy. So Glennon Engleman was a dentist in the city of St. Louis, and he had a dentist operation at Grand in Miami, right, Johnny?
Yep.
Was it Grand in Miami?
Grand in Miami.
So we're going back. This guy he started in 1958 is the first murder that's associated with him. But we're going to move to 1977. And in 1977, Engleman meets a gal by the name of Barbara. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but there's last name a lot, so I'm going to spell it, but then I'm going to pronounce it the way I'm going to pronounce it the rest of the time. It's Gusewelle. I'm just going to pronounce it Guswell.
Guswell.
So-
Enough for me.
That's good enough for me.
So, and then he meets Barbara Guswell Boyle. and she's married to Ronald Guswell. And Ronald's parents are Vernita, and I'm going to get the names right.
Is this a true crime or a genealogy story?
No,
Fuck we do. Crime, brother.
but hold on a second. So this dentist meets her. She's married to the son, Ronald, of Arthur and Vernita Gusweller. And these two are loaded. They got vending machine property or vending machine business. They've got farms over in Illinois, Jersey County, Illinois. Engleman has a tremendous ability to seduce women and to talk to them in a way, and you were talking about earlier how people can talk to people. So he had a tremendous way of inducing these women into whatever he wanted to. And then he would induce them into murder, and murder for money, always for money. So listen how convoluted the 1977 case with the Guswells is. So he's, like I said, he's messing around with Ronald's wife.
Got you.
But then while messing around, he learns that the parents are rich and wealthy. So the two of them, he convinces her that we should kill the parents of Ronald. Then we'll kill Ronald. Then we'll get all the money. So in 1977, he goes over to Jersey County, Illinois, shoots the father, and the father's name is Arthur. He shoots Arthur and bludgeons Vernita to death. So they're dead. It's a rural community. It's a random act. Nobody knows what's going on. So obviously Ronald, the son, is the heir to the
Wealth.
Ronald gets the inheritance, and then they kill Ronald in 1970, or he kills Ronald in 1979. So then the Barbara, who he's in a relationship with, eventually gets all the money. Well, when she gets all the money, there's the paper trail. So they're always worried about the paper trail. So she's not giving him a bunch of money right away because he's opening up fake accounts and fake businesses to try to get some of this money, but he's not getting it in time. And he's living a lifestyle that he's racking up bills. That he starts getting into financial troubles because the money's, she's got all kinds of money, but the money's not coming to him quick enough, and they're on her now. Now the investigators over in Illinois are thinking, come on, man. The parents die, all the wealth goes to him. He's dead. So she's catching heat. Barbara's catching heat over there in Illinois. Then over here in St. Louis, our guy comes into contact with a Sophie Barrera. And Sophie Barrera is a salesperson, or she sells like dentures and shit. Shit for dentists.
For the dentist.
And they use this stuff, and he racks up a bill with Sophie. So Sophie's the only one that gets killed, that there's no money value. But Sophie ends up suing him because of the money.
For killing her?
No. That would have been her estate.
Okay, gotcha.
Right.
But Sophie, before that, she sues him
Lack of pay.
because he owes money. And he ain't got no money, and he's where's my money? So anyway, she ain't coming off of it. She's like, hey, fuck this guy. He owes me money. I want my money. So she's on him hard. He puts a bomb under her car and blows this thing up somewhere in the area of the Bevo Mill area where she starts her car, and it's blown up. Now, Woody, who some people know, he's a friend of mine and grew up on the South Side. Been on the show early on.
He's a ex-policeman.
Ex-policeman. But Woody grew up in that neighborhood. And he was playing out in the street when this happened.
When the bomb went
goes off.
Really?
And he said it scared the shit out of him and his friends that were playing. And of course, they don't go inside and ask their mom what happened. They run
To the scene.
And there's shit laying all over the place. Fingers, the whole bit. Now the connections get easy because he owes her a shitload of money. She filed a lawsuit. He's
dead.
a prime suspect.
She gets blown.
They figure it out. Well, then they start doing the back thing. Well, maybe he's involved in this. Well, then they go, and then she breaks. Barbara breaks. the wife of Ronald. She breaks and said, yeah, he did that. Well, then they go back, and there was several other murders that this guy's been involved in that he was kind of just, hey.
On the fringe.
On the fringe, but, nothing ever added up. And this is when technology wasn't all that great.
Right.
Well, I mean, we're talking the late 50s, early 60s. So you can understand why this thing. So as they start tying this stuff together, they go back to 1958. And in 1958, there's a guy by the name of James Stanley Bullock. And James marries his first ex-wife. So
James marries whose first ex-wife?
Engleman.
Engleman's. Okay.
So Engleman gets divorced. James marries her.
Got you.
He sets it up with his ex-wife that will whack him and will split the money. They do that. That's 1958.
And did it happen? They whacked him?
Yep. Now it's all coming together. They're going back now, and they're saying, okay, what was this? What else was this guy involved? 1963, he murders a guy by the name of Eric Fry. Eric Fry, he worked it out with his wife, met his wife, did the whole thing.
He met Eric's wife and said, "This is a good idea."
And then schmoozes these gals. That was his power, is that he could schmooze these gals into relationships to where then it would be all monetary. And he would kill for money. So he kills it in 1963. And this guy, he throws him down like one of them water wells, like a wishing well. And then when he throws him, he pushes him into the thing. And then when he's down there, he throws in some dynamite and then blows the dude up. Just completely blows him up. So he's dead. So that's one. And then in 1976, he murders a guy by the name of Peter Holm. And Peter Holm's wife worked
every time. The wife
with him at the dentist place.
Worked with Engleman at the dentist place.
At the dentist place. So these are the ones that he was convicted of. They suspect that he's been killing a lot more people. But this is just the 7 that he thought, or that he was convicted of. But I thought, have you ever heard that case?
Never.
I mean, I've been in St. Louis.
Mobile didn't have anything to do with this?
No, we were.
You didn't pull them over?
We were busy.
Okay, I got you.
You had shit going on?
Yeah, we did.
They used to get their teeth cleaned down there, though.
I can't. I don't. I'm not gonna say.
That's
I don't remember,
crazy.
but
Say it.
He was no. I don't know. He was just a contract killer. He would do anything for money. This guy was.
He killed for money.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for life insurance.
So is he
money.
considered a
Right.
serial murderer?
Psychopath.
I don't know. See, that's what I don't and we've talked. We're talking about a lot of crazy people that killed for whatever reason. So where does the crazy come into where you're like mentally unstable, and where is it where you're like the Petties?
They're all evil.
Where they
They're just
deal-
evil. They're not.
I get it, but they have no. But where does it? Some people kill for reasons.
No, serial killers kill because they love to kill for no monetary. Like Maury Travis didn't kill anybody and make money off it. He was just doing it because that's what he loved to do. He tortured them
So talk about Raphael Jackson though. Well, what's he kill for?
for money, for
Well,
respect,
revenge.
respect.
But there's so many different reasons.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Is that serial killers just kill for nothing?
Right,
for-
100%.
Well, the one I'll do is Jerry Lee Little. He killed for rape, and then strangulation, and so he was
So
a serial-
he was a serial
same thing every time. He stalked him and did this and that.
Right.
so-
Glennon is not a serial killer. He's just a psychopath that did it for money. He was a narcissist that thought he needed to, do whatever it took to make him have money.
But does
And he thought
that
he think he was smarter than everybody. He could get away with it.
is that part of being a serial killer though?
I don't know. I wish we knew somebody on a police podcast that had these answers.
No, it's just us now. We could
No,
call Ron.
I don't
Tunkel,
think
but
you can consider Glennon a serial killer or Raphael a serial killer.
I think they're mass murderers.
Yeah, that's better. That's better. Yeah.
I just think they lack remorse.
Well, there's
that goes
killing's not that
goes
big
with
a
all
deal.
of them. I think that goes with all of them.
But
People just.
But
Wow. Wow.
Ted
No, I never heard that.
The serial killer, Ted Bundy, he didn't do it for the money. He just liked to kill. Now, I mean, that's pretty much.
But he
serial
did
killer.
the same thing
over and over.
The same
so
thing
did,
every time.
And so did Maury Travis. He killed prostitutes. He could,
Right.
He would torture them and whatever he did with
Well,
them.
I read an article about. I was looking into the pain, like Lorenzo and Dennis Heyman, and back in like '73 or '74, there was a big newspaper article just explaining how they did it in the drug, world. They did it for survival. So you take out one of their guys. Well, then you have to be on defense and kill somebody before they come and kill you.
Right.
And and with the Pettys and Dennis Heyman, the Pettys won that war completely because Heyman lost
Everybody.
a dozen
Yeah.
of his lieutenants, and this article said that the Pettys only lost one person, but they shot each other all the time. They went back and forth. So that's a different kind of serial. It's not a serial killer. It's a matter
Almost
of,
like war.
It's
Like
survival.
you're your own-
Yeah, that's war.
It's survival.
Well, and that's similar to the Ronnie Thomas, who, one of the things that we all did, and the Romeos met today. So we call a lot of these people to say who was the craziest person, who was the craziest killer you ever had.
Who are the Romeos?
The retired old men out eating, and they are the era from about 1960 to about 1990, right? When they were in their heyday.
Yeah.
Maybe 2000.
A lot of our mentors.
All of our mentors are up there. I like a lot, but yeah, a lot of our mentors are up there. But we asked them the same question, and as Ronnie Thomas came up, Ronnie Thomas Bay. And he's been brought up in a previous show of ours talking about Jerry Lewis Bay. And Jerry Lewis Bay, that episode was with Mike Fagan, the lead prosecutor. But Ronnie Thomas, every single one of these old timers, that's the first name they came up with. He killed, but similar to, he killed for reasons. Like,
Right.
hey, go kill him
Like John said, survival. and-
because
and
of
war.
this.
Yeah.
Because he did this or because he did that. But the problem with Ronnie is that he tried to, and he didn't try, he did become state witness and cooperated with federal authorities against Jerry Lewis Bay. So when you do that, you have to admit, because when you're going to be a prosecutor or a prosecuting witness, they're coming after you for everything they can.
Right.
So as the prosecutors, they're telling Ronnie, you got to tell us everything you did. You got to tell us all the murders just so we can get it out there and put it on record.
Right.
We understand you're cooperating, but we got to put it out there. So they put out and Ronnie's like, all right, I killed this guy, I killed this guy, killed this guy, killed this guy, this guy, this guy. And he lays out about 8, 9 murders. So he gets on the stand and he's testifying. Well, then it comes time for the defense to come up and cross-examine him. Well, they bring up 2 murders that he didn't confess to, or didn't talk about on direct, and he says, "Oh yeah, I did those 2." So that's when you know you're a good killer. Is when you're like, "Oh yeah." When you kill people, you just forget about the people you kill.
That's crazy.
It's like I don't even remember that shit.
Those are
Unbelievable.
obviously they're psychopaths or something. There's some
Yes.
title
there's
you can give them.
There's one more thing that we're going to talk about that I want to talk
A
about
couple shows on.
with Richard Beck. And Richard Beck, we brought his name up a few other shows and just kind of skimmed over it. And Richard Beck was investigated by many people. But Frank Brostrom, who's been on the show before, he's an FBI agent, got involved in this case. And it started from a drug and gun arrest from the county with an FBI agent involved. And then Frank gets involved. And the next thing you know, they get a confession, tape confession, which we will have a tape of. Well, I shouldn't say that. We have the tape that's getting mailed to me right now. I don't know what's in it. But that there's going to be a tape of the confession. And this guy was involved with the mob, which everybody wants us to talk about the mob. I mean, we are. We're kind of building up our stuff before we talk about certain stuff. And we're going to talk about mob. We're going to talk about all that. But Richard Beck couldn't be in the mob because he was a German. But he wanted to be in the mob, and he wanted to prove that he was a crazy motherfucker. And he proved it. And he killed at least 5 people. Probably more than 10 or more.
Right.
With tremendous bomb. We got the pictures. I don't know how many. You guys have seen the
convicted.
pictures.
He was convicted of 5, and we just
No,
think
he wasn't. That's wrong.
Oh.
Here's another twist of the story. The original case they got him on, they got him for 28 years, and he was sick. Okay, on the gun and dope charges. Well, when Frank starts doing this investigation, and all this stuff's coming out, he's in jail. every interview you're going to see, everything. He's in jail at the time. When it comes time to prosecute, and the confessions are happening in 2003. These things are going back to 1960s. So anytime you prosecute a case that's 40 years old, it's fucking hard.
Right.
Very, very hard. And then putting all the pieces together. And then there's another thing called excessive prosecution. And that would lead to, so he was in jail and sick, and he got a 28.5-year sentence. So they thought he was going to die in jail. So all the stuff he confesses to and all the stuff he does, they thought they deemed it excessive prosecution. They didn't get prosecuted for none of it. And he's out today.
Wow. Are you shitting me?
Ronnie Thomas, out today.
Damn. Get him on.
So
My day in history are light topics because we just talked about hundreds of people being murdered by St. Louis killers. So I'm taking it off that. And I'm going to make all of our 93.62 million listeners smarter. On this day in 1961, the Museum of Modern Art in New York was having a, exhibit. And they hung one of the most famous abstract artists of all time. What is that?
Hey, wake up out there. You guys, listen.
No, one of the most famous abstract artists of all time, Henri Matisse.
Yeah.
Producer John, have you heard of him?
Hank.
I used to play for the Montreal Canadiens.
Richard?
Yeah.
Henry Richard?
And by the way, did you hear Numbnuts call him Hank? That's how unpolished we are.
Andre.
And when I say we, I mean you. Okay? That's how unpolished we are.
I said Henry.
He's one of the most
Great
famous abstract
He
artists of all
spells his
time.
last name with an I.
Matisse.
I said his first name. How do you spell his first name?
Henri. They're having a huge exhibit.
He's French.
They're having a huge exhibit at the Modern Museum of Art in New York.
Yep.
And it's a 45-day exhibit. And they hang one of his most famous abstract pieces of art on the wall upside down. It's Le Bateau.
I know what it is.
Le Bateau. It's a famous cutout by Matisse. And it depicts hang in there with me. Depicts a sailboat on the water, and it shows its reflection.
That's horrible.
Yeah, that's what it does.
It's not horrible. It's art.
I thought it was somebody pooping. Looks like somebody's butt.
Dude.
That is so. I can't save this.
we're looking at this.
I'm worried about JJ.
Whoa.
Dude, that's
All right, hold on.
So
Danny's got shit to say.
I got shit to say. You guys are just animated. Let me finish my this day in
Hey,
history
can we
before you
cut
show
this
me how
out, John?
before
No,
me show me how
absolutely not.
uneducated you are. They hang it upside down. 116,000 visitors go through the museum, and nobody notices it. That's not bad enough. One of the visitors that went through was Henri Matisse's son, Pierre Matisse, who was an art trader, didn't notice it was upside down. A female stockbroker goes through, and she says, man, that's not how Henri Matisse would depict that reflection on the water with that sailboat. It's upside down. She goes back again. Now, here's my brighter side of blue tie-in, because you're going to like this. She goes back a third time, and she says, it's upside down. She goes over to a security guard, and I'm going to put on my glasses because the exact quote from the security guard was written in the New York Times. She says, excuse me, officer, this is the third time I've been here, and that is displayed upside down. He says, you don't know what's up, and you don't know what's down, and neither do we.
Looks like shark fins to me.
So shows the New York Times, JJ. This huge display over there. Matisse is a big part of it, and they have it hung upside down. So they send some of their art experts over there and say, oh, my God, it's upside down. They write an article about it. The curator of the museum says, oh, shit, we hung it upside down. Went and flipped the picture. The funny thing about it was the last day of the exhibit. So out of 47 days of the exhibit,
It's not
the damn
that
thing
funny.
was hung right for like 3 hours of it.
If I was him, I would have said the boat capsized.
Actually,
wait. Real
Actually,
quick.
when you say the upside down one,
disappointed.
Wait a
in you
minute,
guys.
wait.
I'm like hurt.
You're so full of shit. The wrong. See the wrong one?
It looks
Do you
better.
kind of see Snoopy?
Snoopy.
Yes.
The character.
This is Henry
Yes.
Matisse. Snoopy.
You see Snoopy. That's Snoopy.
That is Snoopy.
It is Snoopy.
On the top, right?
Yes.
On
Yes.
the top.
See?
It's Snoopy with maybe getting stabbed.
By one of the most crazy killers in all of St. Louis.
He just got his throat. He just got his throat
He's got a
slashed.
throat shot.
Yeah, he got throat
All
slashed.
right,
Yeah.
hey, producer John, please pull it down. I cannot take the IQ of
please.
7 over here.
Dan,
Take
you
it
got a
down,
lot.
please.
Dan, let's be honest. You got a lot of money. You've done well for yourself. You're a mover and a shaker, and whatever. How much would you pay for that fucking thing?
Billions.
You wouldn't give you cheap bastard. You wouldn't give him $10. Thought he could make money off it. He'd buy it in a minute and sell it. For sure.
We did an episode on the worst killers in St. Louis, and we spent more time talking about Henry Matisse.
And rightfully so.
I love it.
Play me my favorite song, John. Everybody knows this song, and everybody knows these chords on this song, correct?
Yes.
And this is for Postal Dave and for you, by the way.
I
This
thought
whole
we were
story-
playing JJ's
No,
theme music.
just so you know, this is for you and Postal Dave. This
I
story,
appreciate
producer
it.
John.
You got another story?
Yeah. Okay, JJ, that's Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water. Everybody in the world knows that. They don't know Matisse, but they know that. That's Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water.
I like
Better
where this is
odds.
going better now.
Odds are better that we know that than Matisse.
That's good. Producer John, do you know the motivation for the creation of that song by Deep Purple?
Yeah, they were in Switzerland, and there was a fire
Very good.
in a casino, and they had to move out, and because they were there to do an album, and because they were sitting there watching this casino burn down, and that's what inspired them to write the song.
So you know what? He's in the Music Hall of Fame. John loves music more than anything, and he was. You were so close, John.
Okay.
So they were in Switzerland. You are correct. Frank Zappa.
And the mothers,
Frank Zappa was doing a concert over in Switzerland, and somebody lit a flare. It was in a casino, the Marceau Casino, and somebody lit a flare in the crowd, and started a humongous fire. And Frank Zappa, everybody remained calm. He helped them. We got to get out of this building. Everybody in the crowd gets out. Nobody gets killed. Frank Zappa and the band gets out, and the casino and all Frank Zappa's equipment, everything burnt to the ground. Across Lake Geneva at a hotel is Deep Purple, the band Deep Purple. And they're there to do a recording. And they're sitting there looking, oh my God, this is burning down. And they knew Frank Zappa was doing a concert over there. So across from Lake Geneva, they're watching this casino burn down. And it inspired them to create the song Smoke on the Water. And all the lyrics are really just depicting what happened.
yeah,
at the
it's like a narrative.
It's like a
what
narrative
happened.
of what happened in
Yeah.
that thing. So Frank Zappa lost. Here's my tidbit end of this. Frank Zappa lost all their equipment, and 6 days later, in the London theater, Frank Zappa had to rent. He had another concert. He had to rent all of his equipment to put on this show. And I don't know why this happened. I don't know if this guy was mad, what he was mad about. But Frank Zappa's doing a show 6 days from the big famous fire, and some fan jumps on the stage and whoops Frank Zappa's ass and throws him off into the orchestra pit and severely injures him, and he spends a long period of time in a wheelchair. All this happened within 6 days of the casino burning down.
Smoke on the water.
And Smoke on the Water being created. So
Smoke
that's
on the water and an ass kicking.
And somebody jumps up on the stage and whoops his
Tremendous
ass
ass kick.
on the
They
stage.
wouldn't have
I-
done that to Leonard Skinner, to tell you that.
You know how you don't get that happen? If Frank Zappa was smart, you know what he would have hired?
Oh, Corby
Shit.
You should have.
Campbell
Ain't no doubt-
Security.
ain't no doubt about it.
100%.
Fuck.
You know, but he did go. He did have a successful concert years later after he got out of the wheelchair and this and that. And so
You know what though?
After he got all the-
No, seriously. If he went to Prime Performance and got physical fit, got the testosterone
He would've
shots.
beat that
he
guy's
was-
ass.
He would have whooped his ass.
Right.
He would've whooped his ass.
Elbow smashing and everything.
Right.
Just
He was
come
low.
off the top rope.
He was low on.
That's my days in history.
T.
Now you're smarter. Now you guys fought me on the first one, but you're smarter by it. But
Not
in the
really.
crowd today is one of our finest sponsors, Dr. Chris Dusold with Avail Professional
Where are you at?
Services.
Where are you at?
So make
Where
your
you
way
at?
up here, Dr. Dusold. Make your way up here. So Dr. Dusold, take a microphone and get up here. Right up here. He's one of our relatively new sponsors, but the reason you're up here is because you're damn good looking, and also because your nickname Marty Bird. You are one of your specialties is cannabis. Missouri recently passed made cannabis legal in Missouri, and you're one of the leading financial firms in that regard. But your nickname is Marty Bird, and we love that. So how'd you come up with the Marty Bird thing?
Because of weed. People just kept calling me. Where they say, "What do you do?" I'm an accountant. And what type of industries do you work in? Well, you don't mention the boring ones, right? Right? You don't say car dealerships or construction companies. You start with
Cannabis.
right? Yeah, and cannabis. And people go, oh, like Marty Bird.
The show from the Ozarks.
And at the
guy from
time,
Ozarks.
I didn't know about the show from the Ozarks. Like, I better figure this out. I didn't want to act, stupid. I better. And sure enough, I'm like, wow. Now he was, crooked and everything.
He was crooked, but he was also kind of
He was smart as
kind
shit.
of nerdy like you. You know, Marty Bird.
I get that a lot. Yeah, Jason Bateman and me. Yeah, we'd be buddies.
Yeah.
Great.
Hey, you know what? In all honesty, we make fun and we love talking about Marty Bird on the show when we mention
Marty Bird.
Avail professional services. But more importantly, we do appreciate your support for our grassroots podcast, supporting law enforcement and getting the stories out there of what we do on a daily basis and our men in blue do. And so you are a huge contributor to getting our message out. And
Well, I do appreciate it. No, we're happy to be a part. We'll be a permanent part. The sponsors you have are phenomenal. It's great to be part of that team. But as I'm looking around this, I feel like it's WKRP. We should do a turkey drop. We're going to do a turkey drop, John Frank.
I thought turkeys could fly.
As God is my witness.
That is good. Very good.
I'd like to think that I'm like Dr. Johnny Fever, but it's more like Les Nestman. No, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
A word from our sponsors. Looking for a place to unwind, celebrate, or just pull up a seat with a good company and a fine cigar? Head to Riverman Cigar Company, located at 8984 Watson Road. They're not just a cigar shop. They're a premium lounge where craftsmanship meets chill. From Padron to AJ Fernandez, the humidor is stocked. The sonic humidifier with reverse osmosis keeps every stick tasting top tier. Whether you're new to cigars or a seasoned aficionado, they've got events, education, and a cozy spot to kick back. Call 314-843-3355 or check them out online, rivermancigar.com, where quality matters and the vibe's right.
Now, Tom, where does Dan from Riverman Cigar go when he's selling all those cigars at a high price?
Making all the money.
Yeah, making all the money. Where does he go after that?
He should head on out to Avail Professional Services. It's based in St. Louis, but it has reach across Missouri and Illinois. They're experts in tax planning, payroll, bookkeeping, HR support, and they don't stop until you're under control. Whether you're a solo hustler or a growing firm, Avail brings a high-touch service with real-world results. Visit availproserve.com for your free consultation. Avail Professional Services. When every financial detail matters, go see Dr. Dusold, otherwise known as Marty Bird. Huge supporter of law enforcement. Go see him.
The Birdman.
Yep.
Last week I missed out on the Sheriff Shenanigans show. 'Cause
Gotcha.
I was at a concert with my son. And,
Yep.
I have no regrets for missing the show because it was a tremendous concert, the Mammoth with Wolfgang Van Halen. But to kind of join in is, I started wondering, like, all right, our sheriff got in all kinds of trouble. There surely has to be other instances around the country where a sheriff has gotten messed up and gotten in trouble. But I found Alex Underwood, who was sheriff.
Big A.
Yeah, Big A, another.
Now, he was a sheriff law enforcement officer, though.
Yeah, he wasn't
Actually-
sheriffs are different. Like our St. Louis sheriff takes care
Right.
of the prisoners. And stuff.
Right.
a lot of
In courts.
Most places, the sheriff is the head of law enforcement.
Right.
Yep.
But anyway, they got the same title. So Sheriff Underwood was from Chester County, South Carolina, and he kind of just maybe, I don't know if he topped it. I think we can kind of have like maybe a vote sometime, like who's more
Messed up.
more egregious. But Sheriff Underwood was using deputies. He had a piece of property, had a big barn on it, and he went to turn it into a man cave, like a party cave. Well, he started pulling his deputies off of assignments, including like drug surveillances and stuff, to come over and
Party?
build his
Bill.
Man
build
cave.
it, his man cave.
Is that frowned upon?
In South Carolina, it is. I don't know if it is in other states, but he did this like hundreds of hours of man hours of his deputies coming to work and just going straight to his house and building his man cave. And he was also skimming over like these. They had like overtime allotted for like DWI checkpoints and stuff. Well, they didn't do any DWI checkpoints. He just took the money.
That's where he went wrong.
That's where I'm assuming that's how he paid for his man cave. But and one of the things he did, and this kind of reminds me of our guy, is there was a police chase that wrecked like right in front of his house. Just coincidentally, well, there was a man out in the middle of the street filming this whole episode, a citizen. So the sheriff, Alex Underwood,
Big A.
grabs the guy, locks him up, and puts him in the clink for like 3 days. The guy never gets charged with anything, but the guy wouldn't turn over the video, so he just locked him up. And the guy just sat there until like his family alerted somebody, and they got him out. But so the FBI got involved. They
There's where he made a mistake.
yeah, and there's other allegations, but he was one of like 12 sheriffs in Carolina, in South Carolina, that got locked up in a short period of time, not related to each other. Apparently, Carolina's just got a
They hate their
Yeah,
sheriffs.
sheriff's
yeah,
issue.
I can make
Do
something
you
up.
know that they're elected? Are they elected?
Yes, they are, because here,
See? See? Hey, all
deviant
right.
little,
All right.
this is in my notes. All right, so he got suspended as sheriff, and he got indicted. But while he was indicted and removed from office, he ran for sheriff again in the re-election,
And one.
but he lost.
Oh.
Barely.
He lost to Max Dorsey, but
Big Max.
Can I-
Nope.
he still received 30% of the vote, even though he was under indictment and suspended as sheriff. He did lose to Max Dorsey. The day Porno died,
Attack on law enforcement is attack on all Americans.
DJT.
Donald
Very
J.
nice.
Trump. We're not political, but he said that, and I respect that.
Well, because it's true. An attack
is.
on law enforcement is an attack
Attack on all Americans.
All Americans. It's true.
I got something to say.
When you don't want to bicker about the price on the sticker, head on down to Shicker, where you get the best deal quicker.
They have an end of year blitz on trucks. Trucks. They have an end of year blitz going, and they have pre-owned, lightly used pre-owned specials going down to Shicker Ford of St. Louis. So we've all given our topics for the day, our craziest killers, and now it's producer John's turn to come up with his homework. Producer John, do you have
The dog
somebody?
ate my homework,
The dog ate your homework?
so I'm calling a lifeline, and I'm bringing somebody in for show and tell. So I called a police legend, retired Chief Joe Mokwa, who's got a couple really good stories.
There we go, baby.
It
Okay.
is cheating, but that's cool.
That's cheating, but you went to the Hall of
Actually,
Fame to
that's
do it.
prior
Let's see-
guest.
I'd rather
let's
hear
see how
him.
it plays
I'd
out.
rather hear him than your version.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I didn't call some turkey.
That ain't even right, Jay.
This
downtown.
is a great decision
offense,
by
John.
you.
I want to know who the other biggest murderers were that you guys already did.
Okay, Jerry Lee Little Jr. killed Sister Pat. Thoughts on that,
Yeah,
Chief?
I drove. I actually. Yeah. Here's a terrible thought about it. when it happened, I was the aide to Colonel Hackett in the BFO, and he wanted to get up there right away. He said, drive me. I went down the wrong direction, got on Grand Avenue. All the school buses were going about 1 mile an hour. And I'm sweating. He goes, that's all right, Joe boy, just relax. We got there about a half hour late.
Oh my God! Hey, you know what, Chief? We're going to skip back on topic, but I have to say that you deserve that. Because
Thank you, that you.
I know your story.
yeah, you deserve that.
That's
'cause-
that's how I learned it.
That's how we learned. Because I'm telling you right now, JJ, I was a undercover detective in Vice, and Chief Mokwa was the chief of detectives then. And he comes over and he goes, Howard, come over and drive me down to St. Raymond's, okay? And I was just a young copper. I didn't even. So I drive him. I pick him up in the garage, and we pull out. And I,
It's 3 blocks from fucking.
hey John, settle down over there. So I'm kind of like driving slow to the intersection, like kind of hoping the chief says, you know, make a right here, Danny. He didn't say anything, so I make a right and make it slow, and then I passed up a turn, then I passed up another turn, and he says, "We're going to St. Raymond's, right?" And I go, "Yeah, St. Raymond's." And then I make another return, and he goes, "Hey, pull over here." And he looks me in the eye, like all of us remember he did, those stern eyes. He goes, "Hey, Danny, you don't know where the fuck you're going, do you?" And I go, Chief, I've never been there before. He goes, well, we're going to sit right here until you get me to St. Raymond's. Find a way to get. I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, could you just like help me?
That's before cell phones too.
He just looked at me. He goes, this is unbelievable. You get me to fucking St. Raymond's right now. And I'm starting to sweat, and he wouldn't let me off the hook. He finally let me off the hook. So kind of, Chief,
You
he
needed
kinda
that
deserved-
lifeline call.
I needed a lifeline. Do you actually remember that at all by any chance?
No, it's so cruel to so many people. It kind of the fog of war.
That's awesome.
The other person we brought up tonight, Chief, was Richard Beck. He's the self-proclaimed mad bomber of St. Louis. What do you remember about him?
That he was supposed to kill a lot of people. But you know, and I really congratulate you tonight, because I was going to mention, it seems like you never have any white guys on this show.
We got a couple of them coming up now. We also had where we talked about Glennon Engleman, the dentist.
Yeah, the guy. Yeah, I remember him.
Now, was that a little bit even? I mean,
that was a
I
little
guess
bit before my time, even. Yes.
right. But the bombing there, the last one was in 1980. So obviously you were on. But where were you at
Yeah,
in 80?
I was on. 1980, I was in the intelligence unit, so I didn't know anything.
Okay.
I thought it was supposed to be the opposite of that.
Rumba.
Yeah, well, you know, sometimes the label doesn't really fit the guy.
And then the other one we talked about was Maury Travis. I know that we've
yeah,
had Harry
I
on the
one
show talk about that, but I know, where were you at the time when that was going on?
I think I was the chief of detectives.
Okay.
Because I remember, I thought it was really good for dramatics on TV, but remember I made all the homicide guys go to a counselor after watching all the Maury
all the
Maury
videos.
Travis.
Stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Hey, Chief, did
And
you?
I'll tell you a secret story he'll never tell you. So the Post-Dispatch wanted to talk to somebody about the case, and I called Harry and I said, go over there and tell him about it. And initially he was kind of like resentful. I don't really want to go over and talk to those guys. And then they wrote a really good editorial about him and made him a hero, and he liked it.
He liked it.
But he did do a good job on that case, as he does on all
There's
of
a
them.
little small. You probably don't realize this, but I was in Mobile Reserve. Joe Cruz at the time, and we actually pulled him over to identify him for Tim Sack. I guess asked us.
How
to
many
do it.
times are you going to tell that story tonight?
I just went no. Just
So
the first.
really, you cracked the whole case.
I did. Thank you.
That's
I just
what
wanted
he's
you to know
getting
that. I wanted you to like me better.
So you already told us that story, so now you had to retell it to the chief. Just what's he going to do for you?
Nothing. I just want him to know. I want him to be proud
I
of me.
can't get out of City Hospital now, so don't worry about it.
Can you still write Chiefs letters?
Could you give me a chief? I didn't get a
I
chief
can,
letter for that.
I think
I
Jimmy
can't,
should
but-
be the first recipient of the ex-chief's letter.
I can write it on a blank piece of paper, though.
That's okay.
Exactly.
It'd be worth more than. Never mind.
So Maury Travis, yes, that was. I'm sorry, Chief. Where were you during that? Were
Chief
you?
of detectives.
You were the chief of detectives. Okay.
Right.
Well, that
And
was
then the other ones we had was Raphael Jackson. We just did we released his confession tape, which started this whole thing. And I don't know if you've seen it yet, Chief, but he just went into 5 murders that were just completely crazy, which kind of spurred us
I saw
this
that
on.
you guys did that show. I did see that.
And but he was after. Obviously, you were retired by then.
So we went into him a little bit. And the other one, and I think you were retired also, was Anthony T.T. Jordan. But your buddy Leo Rice was big in that case. And he was maybe started in like 2015 with his shenanigans, and he killed about 20 people.
I don't want to insult you guys, but Leo's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
He's one of our favorites too. He's everybody's favorite.
Even though I saved his career a couple of times.
You ain't the only one. Joe Speece is in the crowd tonight. I'm sure. I know he saved his ass a few times too.
I think Leo's the only person ever that got in a little trouble in narcotics.
I can't remember that.
Yeah, and, every once in a while when you get in trouble.
Good. He was pretty good with a handgun.
Yes, that's what he said. He knows exactly what I'm talking about.
At least he didn't try to get into the lab on his own and turn in his dope evidence.
Well, no, Leo didn't do that. No, he wasn't. He just had some incidents over the years, and he had some discharges over the years, and put it this way, most people, but you got to understand, Leo's that, and Chief, I think you'll agree with me on this, is Leo's that good of a detective that
he's one of the best there was.
Right, but by punishing him, you're almost punishing a lot of other people that, and his incidents weren't, fireable.
They weren't that egregious,
right? But they mounted up. Put it this way, they mounted up.
I have a good story about his brother.
Go ahead.
His brother was in the 5th District with us, and one afternoon we were on the afternoon watch, and we're still in 1901 Penrose, and this lady is up at the desk, and she's really irate, and she's screaming, and can't be controlled, and he's standing about 2 feet away from her, and she screams, "He just spit on me." And we're all standing with our mouths open, and his reply was, "I sneezed." Oh.
Could be. But anyway, to finish my little thing is Leo got in a little trouble, and most people thought he was going to go to a district possibly. And Leo went from narcotics to DEA.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
All right. So who is the chief?
There was actually a couple of colonels that wanted him to go even worse than that, but I wouldn't go along with it.
Oh, I think you made a good choice,
Yes, you
Chief.
did.
Yes,
we
you
made a
did.
lot of good
Brilliant.
cases out there, and I obviously
he's a
Leo's
great
been
guy.
on the show 3 times now, and everybody loves Leo. Put it that way.
I did too. We all did.
Johnny, what do you got for the Chief now? Where are we going with these craziest killers?
Well, a few weeks ago, I just texted the chief out of the blue and said, "Who are some of the worst, criminals you ever dealt with?" And he immediately sent back Duke Brock and Lorenzo Petty.
Okay.
And we all, we've talked about the Pettys before, but I've never heard of Duke Brock before. But I think the chief's got some really good stories about Duke.
Well, and I think sometimes people that aren't in law enforcement may not understand this. Maybe some people in law enforcement don't understand this. But you know how you can be a really bad person, but sometimes we get along with them even though they're bad. They don't never disrespect us. I always kind of acknowledge that William S. Brock, Duke Brock, even though he was a murderer and he was an evil person, he was always respectful when I was around him. So I never really had any conflict as I did maybe with Lorenzo Petty. But he was initially with Fat Woods and Earl Jr. And Earl Jr. was Fat Woods' main hitman, but Duke was one of their hitmen too. And when they started getting in trouble and they were gone, he was with Terry Cooley. And for people that don't remember Terry Cooley, he was a major drug dealer who lived up on Euclid, and in 1970 he was murdered, his wife was murdered, and 2 other people were murdered in his house. So now Duke's main allies keep diminishing. And then he came to my attention because he robbed a mail truck and got arrested in Jennings, not at the scene but later, along with 2 co-defendants. And mysteriously, one of the co-defendants was cooperating with the prosecutors, and both the co-defendants ended up murdered somewhere. So the charges were dropped. And I asked him about it one time, and he said, "Well, Joe, my friends knew somebody was cooperating, but they didn't know which one, so both of them disappeared." And I asked him, I said, "Do you ever feel guilty about that kind of thing?" But he said, basically he said, "No, it's gone too far. I don't really feel anything about those kind of things. But he shot a lot of people, and he was always up at Montgomery. He lived at Montgomery and Bacon, so you would see him all the time because he was up around there. And I'm trying to think. I'll tell you a good story about him. He was separated from his wife, and she was dating another guy, and this guy wasn't a criminal. And this guy wasn't. No, this is even better. This guy wasn't really a criminal, but he was scared to death of Brock. So Brock sees the two of them out together and walks up to the car just to communicate with his ex-wife or his just the wife he's separated from, and this guy shoots Duke Brock like 3 times in the chest.
Holy shit.
Brock survives it, but while he's in the hospital, this man and Brock's wife were going to the methadone center every morning, and a guy and one of Duke Brock's friends, if you look him up, Anderson Young was a famous murderer too, but he lived mostly over in Brooklyn, Illinois, and East St. Louis. But he got up on a roof across the street from the methadone center, shot both of them with a rifle, killed his wife, and the guy survived. Wow. So
he killed the wrong guy, the wrong gal.
Right.
Well, he didn't do it. This other person did.
But Anderson killed the wrong person.
Yeah. Here's a story about both of them, Duke Brock and Lorenzo.
Time for a word from our sponsors, JJ. If you need some serious security, who do you go to?
Personally, I would go when you're looking for real protection, not just a badge on a wall. Make the call to the Campbell Security Group, based right there in St. Louis. They're veteran-owned and powered by former law enforcement and military professionals, from executive protection to private air security. They got your back. Get a peace of mind when it matters most. Visit CampbellSecurityGroup.com or call 314-499-1121. Campbell Security Group, because safeguarding your world requires more than watchful eyes. It demands proven action.
Tommy, they have a lot of vehicles at Campbell Security Group. If they need repair, where are they heading to?
I'll tell you what, when your car needs real attention, brakes, diagnostic, tires, or full service, you want a shop you can trust. That's Fairway Automotive. 5 locations across the St. Louis area, all family run, all built on honest work and quality repair. Their certified techs don't guess. They diagnose, fix it right, and keep you safely on the road. Fairway backs every job with integrity and a hometown service that's harder to find these days. Visit fairwayautomotive.com to book your next appointment. Fairway Automotive, where it's not just done the right way, it's done the fair way.
So they were, like I said, Brock was always up around Bacon Avenue. So one afternoon he's up at Bacon and North Market, and the 2 Petty brothers pull up, and they ask him to get in the car. Now, they all knew each other, but they weren't in the same clique.
That's a bad idea.
And I asked Brock about it later, and he said, he knew him, and he knew what the potential was, but he wasn't going to be a punk and not get in the car. So he gets in the car, and so those guys up at North Market and get nervous, and they call Anderson Young, and he comes over to over to St. Louis right away to retaliate. But the Petty brothers dropped Brock back off about an hour later, and I asked him about it later, and I said, what was that all about? And he said, well, they want to whack a guy, and they knew I was acquainted with him, but they wanted to kind of make sure there was not going to be any kind of retaliation. They were just kind of discussing if it, what was going to, if it was okay and what was going to happen with it. And I don't think Brock cared one way or another. but the end of the story.
Kill him.
Brock ended up laying on. He had a trash bag over his head at Glasgow and St. Louis on a vacant lot. And he'd been burned with a bunch of cigarettes and then shot in the head. So actually, everybody that Duke Brock hung around with, and all those guys who were supposed to be major drug dealers or tough, gangsters, every one of them ended up dead.
Wow.
It's kind of a short-lived lifestyle, as we all know.
Yeah. Wow.
So the next guy, because you asked about him, I think we ought to give Lorenzo an award, because when you talk about all the guys who were really murderers and all the things they did, he might be the only guy that I know that's still up in North St. Louis alive right now.
Right.
He's a preacher, isn't he? A pastor?
I don't know if he is. I've heard that. I don't know if really he is. I've seen he has a video that he does, and I thought it was kind of, I don't know. It didn't. I guess he's a lot older now. He isn't the kind of dynamic guy that I kind of remember, because when we were chasing him, and I think I told you on a previous thing, I foot pursued him twice where he threw a pistol down, but he was a formidable, husky, really tough guy with his hands, and he was a man's man. I had to give him credit, and in fairness, he never really overtly gave me any trouble when I chased him. as everybody knows, later he put a contract on me and wanted to blow up my house. But I think
there's that.
He's and in case he's listening, I think I'm actually serious. He always thought it was something personal. This is a weird thing that all you guys understand. When you're arresting like high-profile guys in the police department, the command staff doesn't even know who they are. So the only really acknowledgement you get is from other policemen that know them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Exactly.
It's only your peers that really kind of say, "Wow, that was a good one," or
Right.
You get
Right.
some prestige. And I was always doing it for the prestige of getting the attention of the other policemen and even some of the other criminals will say, "Oh, I guess I heard you arrested." But he always thought like Letterman and I really were after him and we hated him or something. And he didn't understand. Hey, this is just a game. Just like it's a game for you, it's a game for us.
It's cops and robbers.
It's
That's
real
the
life
old-
cops and robbers.
Hey,
it's
Chief,
not
if we can
personal.
get him on the show, would you come on with him?
Yeah.
I know
be
you
good.
would.
I think we could get the chief and then Lorenzo Petty and Dennis Heyman.
Lorenzo, if you're listening, we're going to arrange
and
this.
Lorenzo
I-
Petty used to be.
I think if we got the chief on and Lorenzo at the same time, that'd be dynamite.
I'd be on there with him, but make sure that we know where the location is, because Dennis Heyman was in a night spot one night, and Sam and Lorenzo got on the roof across the street and shot several. Didn't hit him, but they shot several bystanders.
Hey, Chief, we got Ricky Ray down here running security. And then we also got Corby Campbell. That if we did bring you guys in, we'd probably hire Corby Campbell to watch the building that night.
Well, if you get really desperate, you can get Malachek over there.
Oh, yeah. What's he going to do? Tea and crumpets?
Belichick's in the Bahamas catching a left hook.
I was gonna say he'd want to drive them.
That'd be a great show with you and Lorenzo on here.
Oh, my God.
Whenever that is, I'm in Naples.
Yeah, we don't want to.
Get Harry.
We don't
get
need
Harry
old,
there.
we don't
Get
want any
Harry
old
there.
scores settled here, though. That's for sure.
Maybe we'll
Get
do
Harry
that over the
Hager there.
computer.
Bring Harry Hager there too, because Lorenzo likes him a lot too.
Oh, I bet. Yeah.
No, when Harry was on and he was talking about the Petty case, he did say, he goes, "Hey, Lorenzo, I hear you're out there." And he says, "If you ever want to talk about it, let me know." That would be a good one. That's when we can
think
just get off the set.
Yeah.
And we just
Harry
let them
actually
guy get
did
on the
talk
set.
to-
That would be wild.
Harry did talk to him at a community meeting one time.
Yes,
where
he did
actually
say
Lorenzo
that.
showed up.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did. That'd be awesome.
That would be incredible.
Actually, to tell you the truth, I'll bet he would show up.
I bet he would too.
Let's do it.
Where is he at?
If anybody
I'll
can
go
set
hunt
this
him. I'll
up,
go
anybody
look
can
for
help
him.
set this up,
If I find out where
sure
he's at, I'll go pay him a visit while I'm working.
I'm sure he's up around DeSoto and Carter or someplace around there.
DeSoto and Carter, is that danger? Would mobile go there? Are you guys? Can you go to a dangerous neighborhood like that?
They hide when we go up there.
Oh, do they?
Is that what they
Yeah.
do?
When we ride, they hide.
They leave the country.
Jeez.
They leave the country when JJ comes up there.
Yeah.
Here
Well,
we
go
go.
find mobile reserve.
Oh, he's got. They can't stop. I think every person in Mobile Reserve that's been there for more than a month has at least 25 pieces of clothing that says Mobile
shirts.
Reserve.
No.
Have you guys ever thought about a case where you really fantasize, what if I'd have been there?
Right.
One of the things one of the Lorenzo cases, I always wished I would have been there. He was close to Dennis Heyman's brother, one of his brother-in-law, and they wanted him to set Dennis Heyman up, and he wouldn't do it. So they got their brother-in-law up at Carter, up at their store, Carter at
CNC.
at this CNC Market, and they put a big chain around his neck, and Sam and Lorenzo you probably heard the story, but Sam and Lorenzo were pulling on each side of it and throwing acid in his face.
Yep,
And
that's
they put
what
him in the
he-
bathtub and shot him in the head, but they put him in a trunk, and that's when I was in the 5th district. I thought, wouldn't it have been cool if I'd have pulled him over and he had a trunk with this guy's body in the back? I'd have been like a hero or something.
Yep. And actually, Harry Hager tells that story where he got found in Illinois, all wrapped up in the trunk.
Yeah.
When he said trunk, it wasn't the trunk of the car. It was like one of those.
Like a steamer trunk.
Yeah, an actual steamer trunk. And I always thought, boy, if I would have only pulled him over, I could have been a hero and everybody thought I was cool. But I was probably eating, but instead I was eating a snow cone or something. They probably waved at me.
I like the one comment we got when we put the Raphael Jackson confession out there, and it's pretty wild. You got to admit, that's a pretty wild confession. And the one comment simply said, "You win, St. Louis." So,
We're the most fucked up.
I don't know what that means, but that's a good way to.
Have you ever thought about this as a conclusion? Seriously, when we're talking about all these killers and all that, all the stories we have, we don't have to do anything. If we never did anything, they kill each other sooner or later anyway, and we don't catch half of them. Or if we do, we catch them 19 times. They keep coming back out and doing the same thing.
100%.
Oh, that's good.
100%. That's perfect.
That's perfect. That
John, you did good with your lifelong.
You guys get a hold of Lorenzo, though. I want you to actually tell him that I gave him an award tonight. Is the only guy I know that lasted and stayed free, and he's an older guy. He's been a great success.
We're going to get him on.
there we go.
You on with them? That'd be awesome.
And then Harry Hager. We got to get Harry on. Deal.
It's always good talking to you guys.
Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Chief.
John, you did good.
Good night, guys.
We appreciate
Peace.
it, bub.
Thanks, Chief.
Time for a quick word from our sponsors. Remember, listeners, you can go buy a Ford from many places, but when you buy it from Schicker Ford of St. Louis, you get a car and a family. The service after the sale is second to none. They've been huge supporters of law enforcement for over 60 years. You get the same treatment if you visit Schicker Jeep, Chrysler, Dodge in Washington, Missouri. So,
When you don't want to bicker about the price on the sticker, head on down to Schicker, where you get the best deal quicker.
Now, where the heck do you bring that car when you first get it?
What I would do is you got to unwind afterwards. And whenever you want to unwind after a shift, buying a car, or just a good night out, you head to Columbo's Cafe and Tavern in Dogtown, St. Louis, where craft brews are on tap. Solid pub grub, a vibe that says real people, real stories near the heart of St. Louis. Bring your squad or just bring your appetite. Located on Manchester in historic Dogtown, Columbo's is where community roots meet good times. Visit columbosstl.com or drop in tonight. Tell them the brighter side of blues sent you. Columbo's, for people who work hard and play harder.
2599, 1335 hours. Detective Menendez, Philip Menendez, South Patrol Detective. We are in the 4th floor homicide interview room interviewing Raphael Jackson. Present is Mark West, South Patrol Detective, DSN 4316. Person we're interviewing right now is Raphael Jackson. Raphael, can you state your full name, please?
Raphael Orlando Jackson.
Date of birth, please.
6471.
Social security number.
4899.
Place where you reside at.
2629 Tennessee.
Okay, Raphael, what I'm going to do right now is just re-advise you of your Miranda rights, okay? And after each sentence, tell me if you understand or not by saying yes or no. You have the right to remain silent. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Anything you say can and will be used against you in court. Do you understand that?
Yes.
You have the right to a lawyer and to have him with you while you are being questioned. Do you understand that?
Yes.
If you cannot afford to hire a lawyer, one will be appointed for you before any questioning, if so desired. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Raphael, we're also talking about another incident at the Shop and Save on the Chippewa Kings Highway border, another robbery. Was that correct?
Yeah, that was last year, around September, October, November.
Okay, would you like to talk about that?
Yeah, I had bought somebody red Escort, had temp tags on the female. I went and got another female to drive for me. And I was riding, I tried to rob a police officer first. And when I realized he was a police, I left him alone when he pulled his gun out. So I went into the Shop and Save, parked on the side of Shop and Save. And a little car pulled up with a man driving, a lady in the front, another man in the back, and a little boy, 1 or 2 kids. They got out and started walking around the side of Shop and Save to the front side. And the lady said she had forgot something, so she went back over there, opened the passenger door up on the car. I jumped out the passenger side with gloves on, 22 revolver 9-shot in my hand. I ain't had a ski mask on. And I reached in the car and put the gun to her head while she was leaning over in the passenger side. And I said, "Bitch, give me your purse." And she said, "I'm not giving you shit." I said, "Bitch, I'll kill you." And I said, "Bitch, you ready to die?" And she Said, no, you gonna die, nigger, and pushed me back. And then she started hollering, robbery, robbery, help. And then her husband and somebody started running back around and everybody got looking. So I slapped her with the pistol in her face and snatched her purse, ran and jumped in the car. The girl pulled off, went around the back of the shop and saved, came out the other side and we was blocked in all the traffic. And she was blowing the horn and everybody was pointing at the car. And she came off the lot on Chippewa, made a right on Chippewa, and went up, made the first right on Ness Street and made a left in the alley. And I had her to pop the hood, and I put the purse and the gun and the ski mask under the hood, and I made her scoot over and drove the car to my cousin's house in the backyard. And I emptied the purse, took it, with nobody at the house. It was my cousin's house on Magnolia. I went upstairs, emptied the purse, you know, and it was, I think, about 6 rings in there. 2 of them was real. I gave the girl the 4 fake rings, about 160 in cash. I gave her 60 in cash also. And I took the 100. I took all the checks, all the IDs, and the credit cards and all that. I ain't never used the credit card, but I went had an ID made in somebody's name, female name, and let them bust all the checks. And I think we spent at least about $3,000 or $5,000 on the checks. And I went back to shop and saved and bust the check and got cash back on it. And I fucked the girl, and told her to give me the money back. And I told her I'd give her some money tomorrow. See.
Can you describe the car that you guys pulled up in on the robbery?
A red, about an 88, a maroon, out of 88 or 89 Escort with a tip tag in the back window.
Okay, is there anything else you'd like to tell us right now? Any other things that occurred on the south side or anywhere else?
I can't think of nothing else.
You mentioned something earlier about
Minnesota.
Tank's house over there on Missouri and Potomac.
Well, yeah, I robbed Tank House on Missouri and Potomac. I had somebody who we know, he had purchased a quarter key powder cocaine from for $6,000. And they came back and told me about it. Told me the day before he just bought a quarter key. So they gave me a map of the house. Said it was 3 rooms in the house. When you walk up through the backyard up the steps, there's a kitchen, then a living room, then a door with another room in there. He told me it was Tank girlfriend, a baby, and his aunt in the house. So we drove. The dude who set everything up, he drove, and by the alley and showed me the back way. It rolled around the corner, parked on Illinois, across the street from the gangway that we got to cut through. So me and the guy that was with me, he had a 357 Python on him, and he had a stocking cap on. I had a 22 9-shot revolver and a 38 owl head on me. And we went to the back. The other guy that was with me, we went through the gangway off Illinois, went through the backyard, across the alley, where we were standing in the gangway, but the door of the Tank apartment up there was locked. So we didn't know how we was gonna get in. We was deciding whether we should kick it in or what. So we saw 2 crackheads walking up through the alley. I asked them, they knew where to get some dope at. They said no. So I waited till they went through Tank backyard and I followed them right through there, 'cause I knew they was going there to buy dope. Followed them. As soon as they get on the steps, going up the back steps, which is still outside, they go up on a porch. Tank come out the door. He said, "What y'all want?" And the dude said, "We want to buy some rocks." I was up there by myself. My other partner, he was still behind the shed. I asked him, he said, who is that dude? He with y'all? Now they said, no, we don't know him. He said, what you want? I said, I want to buy 4 bottles. I got $400. He said, oh, you come on right on up. So I walked up the steps, past the 2 crackheads at the top of the porch. As soon as Tank opened the door to let me in, I pulled one of the pistols out my waist, the 38. The Tank pushed past me and broke. And I turned around, and then I pulled my mask down. I seen that I was facing about 20 other people in the house. It was all over the house. So Tank and the 2 crackheads ran downstairs. My partner came from the alley, and he caught Tank and one of the crackheads, made them come back upstairs, but the other one ran around the front, hollering robbery. So I ran, as soon as I ran through the kitchen into the other room, with one guy went through that front room door and locked it, and he was ready to jump out the window. I ran straight and kicked the door in, told him, get your ass out the window, I'm gonna kill you. So he came back in the room. My partner came up with the 2 Tank and the other guy. We told him, everybody get on the floor. I said, where the money and the drugs at? And Tank laid on the bed and started crying, said, it's in the teddy bear, it's in the teddy bear. They had a real big teddy bear, about 2 feet tall, and real fat, laying on the bed. See, it's in the foot. I reached in the teddy bear, threw the teddy bear ass and dug down in the foot. And I pulled out a big stack of money, it was about $2,000, a little over $2,000. I put that in my pocket, and I said, where the drugs at? And they kept saying, what? Ain't no drugs. We ain't got nothing else. That's everything. My partner told me, motherfucker, y'all better come up with some drugs or we gonna kill all y'all. And then I said, the little 2-year-old baby, I reached down and grabbed a 2-year-old baby by her hair and put the pistol to her head, cocked the hammer, and the girl laying on the bed. She said, that the drugs is on the floor. And I looked down and picked up the cocaine. It was 2 ounces of powder cocaine. Then we took my partner grabbed a whole teddy bear, and we carried the teddy bear, ran out the back, through the alley, back through the gangway on the next street, jumped back in the Jeep, and drove off. And went somewhere and cut the teddy bear up in little pieces, looking for some more money or drugs. And I split all the money I gave everybody they cut on the money. Then I put all the 2 ounces on the scale and gave everybody exactly what they had coming. It was, I think it was on each ounce. It was in 2 plastics wrapped in 1 big plastic. It was on about 27 grams. I split that up equal with everybody, all 3 of us.
You want to mention any other people involved with this?
No,
How long ago was this?
this was about, probably, I don't know, probably between January, matter of fact, from March to July, somewhere in there.
Okay.
This year, right?
Yeah.
You said something about
April to probably July.
April or July. You said something about shooting over there on Magnolia Encounter. You don't think anybody got hit? How long ago was that?
It was about 2 weeks ago.
About 2 weeks ago?
Yeah,
1 or 2 weeks, something like that.
about 2 weeks.
What was the deal with that?
Somebody saw my partner of mine. They had been, into it before. And they rolled up on him. He just pulled out his gun and started shooting at the car. He shot all his bullets out. He had a 9mm, a little small 9mm. I think he had only shot like 11 times. And he shot it on empty. So he went up in his partner's house and got his 32. They rolled around the block. He ran back out with the 32. Saw the dudes come back. They shot at him a couple times. He just emptied the 32 at their car.
You had mentioned also yesterday, Detective Laird, and today, about an incident that happened on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Can you explain that?
This white girls, they strippers. Everybody in the neighborhood know them. They like black guys. They came from Illinois and moved in the house, started renting a house on Minnesota. They got, it's 3 white girls, real fine. They got about four kids. Everybody in the neighborhood call themselves the babysitter. They come over there and babysit their kids at night, you know, and they get the fuck, you know, when they come home from the clubs, you know. And everybody in the neighborhood, when they moved over, everybody in the neighborhood was into it. I'm gonna be the babysitter tonight. No, I'm babysitting tonight. Everybody come over there to babysit. So one day they asked me to take them over in Illinois, East St. Louis, and they off 4th Street exit so they can pick up their car. Me and another guy was with me, so I took them in the car. It was 2 of them, and 2 of their kids. I drove all 3 of them across the water and dropped them off. I knew wasn't nobody else at home. I already been in their house a lot of time. I know they got about a 36-inch brand new color TV and a VCR that I wanted. And so I floored my car all the way back over there to the St. Louis, doing about 90, all the way back to St. Louis to beat them back because they said they were going straight back home. Pulled up in the alley and went up the back porch while the other guy waited in the van to see if I could get in. And I just took a screwdriver, stuck it, cracked the window, and I just hit the other window with that. And I kept hitting it, and I clammed on through. And I opened the door so the other guy could come in, so we could move the TV out and the alarm went off. So I just ran out the door, jumped in the van and left.
You didn't get anything?
No. Then came back about 2 days later, and there was somebody there. No, it was a week later. A man was there. He had a company truck sitting in front. I saw the lights on the house. I came around there, and me and this other guy was together. We knocked on the door. The guy come to the door. We asked for Selena there. He said Selena ain't there. So I said, all right. We got back in the van. We went around the block. Then the dude that was with me, he was saying, we should have got his ass. I said, you want to get him? I said, fuck it, I'll go and get him. So we rode around the back. I put him in the drive seat, set the car past their garage where you couldn't see from their yard or their house. And I put the mask on, had the Tech 9 in my hand. I went up to the back door with my head down. I knocked on the back of the screen door. The guy opened the door. He was about 6'3", and looked like bigger than Lou Ferrigno. Motherfucker looked like a muscle man. You know, and I had my red and black wrestling mask on. I put Tech 9 on. I said, motherfucker, give me everything you got. He said, I ain't got shit. I said, motherfucker, you better come over summer and take that chain off. He had a big old rope on his neck with a big charm. I said, I'll kill your ass. He said, I ain't got nothing. I'm just here fisting the window. I said, you better come over summer. I'm gonna kill you. He had a sledgehammer in his hand. He said, well, you might well go on and kill me. He had a big sledgehammer. I said, motherfucker, you think I'm bullshitting? I'll kill your motherfucking ass. He said, yeah, come on and kill me. Holding the sledgehammer back like you ready to throw it. And I just fired in his head. And the motherfucker didn't shoot. You know, so that motherfucker rushed me with that sledgehammer, and I broke up out that door like I had jets in my hands. And I got in the middle of the yard. I turned around, steady jacking the Tech 9, firing it. He steady rushed me, firing. I ran to the alley. I'm steady jacking and firing it. I get by the door, open the door to the passenger side, and I'm jacking and firing it. And he break and run back up toward the yard of the house. So I jumped in the van, and this motherfucker threw a hammer and busted the window through that sledgehammer. He turned back around and started chasing the van, threw a hammer and busted the back window out. When I left, dropped the dude off and went home.
All right. And would you like to give us any names of your partners that day? Okay, is there anything else you'd like to tell us? Dr. West, do you have any other questions for Raphael?
Unless he wants to help us get that hand grenade off the street.
Raphael, have you been coerced in any ways, threatened to make this tape? And we provided you with anything to drink and eat at this time?
Yeah, I like y'all.
All right. At this time,
I don't like y'all never give y'all no grenade.
this time we'll end the interview. Time is 14:03.